Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to show you guys how to make a sourdough loaf without a kitchen food scale. I did use cup measures to make this loaf. In this video, you will see that I have a food scale on the bottom of my bowl, and I am scooping out flour using a spoon to put the flour into the measuring cup. So this is a 1 cup measuring cup, and I do scoop it out with a spoon to get the best result. I've noticed that when I do scoop in the cup into the flour, usually every cup is like has a huge difference of flour, but when I scoop it out with the spoon, most of the flour measures about the same. So that's why I like to use a spoon. And you will see here that I just kind of make sure that the flour is a little bit fluffy. I just pour it over the measuring cup, and then once I see that it's right about the cup, I don't do a round cup. I just do it like right at the cup measure, I guess, if that makes any sense. And then I just pour it into the bowl. So I used 4 1/4 cup of flour, and this got me to the closest amount of flour that I need for one loaf, which is usually about 500 grams of flour. And it wasn't the exact amount, but that just shows that you can make a great loaf using cups, and it doesn't have to be the exact measurement in grams. So the 4 1/4 cup of flour gave me about 492 grams of flour, which is close enough for me. For the water, I did use almost 2 cups of water. So for the first cup, I did fill it up all the way to the top or the rim of the cup measure. For the second cup, you will see that I filled up the 1 cup measuring cup almost to the rim, but there was a little bit of space left over. I usually do about 325 grams to 350 grams, and this gave me just that. When you do fill it up all the way to the top, it goes past 375 grams. So just do a little bit under the measuring cup and you will get a good amount of water. So here I am just mixing the water and the flour, and then I will add my starter. For the starter, I did add 1/2 cup of starter. I did do a rounded scoop. It wasn't like flat because I just couldn't get it to be flat, but a rounded scoop was perfect. I usually aim to add about 100 grams to 150 grams of starter, and this gave me about 115 grams. So it is right in between both, which is great. It worked out. The more starter that you add, the faster it ferments. So for me, 115 grams works perfectly fine. So then I went ahead and mixed my ingredients together, and then I measured the salt separate as well, just to make sure that, I don't add too much salt into the bowl by accident. So I did use 1/2 tablespoon of salt, and the salt was a little bit rounded, like a rounded scoop. And I got about 9 grams of salt. I usually aim for 10 grams, so this was perfect. I went ahead and added my salt to my rest of the ingredients, and then I mixed everything together, and then I started on the bulk fermentation. So these ingredients I will put in the description. That way, if anyone wants to screenshot them, that way they don't have to be looking back at the video and guess which part says the ingredients or the measuring. I will leave it in the description down below so you guys can just screenshot it. But you can definitely make a beautiful loaf using measuring cups. This is the first stretch and fold. I did wait an hour after mixing the dough together to start on this. I do a little bit of a slap and fold, and I just fold it towards itself. And once it becomes a little bit smooth and not sticky to the touch, I go ahead and cover it up and let it sit on the counter for another hour. I did do 4 sets of stretch and folds here, and this is the second set. You can see that the dough looks a little bit more smooth. You can see a few bubbles on the top, and it is not sticking to my hands at all. I like to fold it towards itself. You guys see these in my videos all the time, and I say it all the time like a broken record, but I just feel like this works best for my dough. And I let it sit on the counter for another hour, and I do the third set. And I just wanted to make this video because I feel like a lot of people don't own a kitchen scale and want to do sourdough. And it doesn't have to be so complicated to where you have to buy every single item that you see people who make sourdough have. Unless you're going to be selling it, I feel like that would be a good item to have, when you're selling, just to give your consistent results and, have precision in your recipes, because you do want to give your customers, the best baked goods. But if you are just doing this for fun at home for you and your family, this is a great way to make bread and not take it so serious. So after a few hours, the bulk fermentation is over and I am ready to shape my dough. I don't laminate my dough because I don't want to pop all those gas bubbles and all, the hard work we've put into this dough, letting it bulk ferment on the counter. So I just like to do a few push and pulls on this dough just to create a little bit of tension. And then I let it sit for a little bit on the counter. And then I do my final shaping. I just flip my dough over and I do a caddy clasp. Sometimes I do a double caddy clasp. Today I did a single, and I just felt like it had enough tension, and I just went ahead and put it into my banneton. I kind of like stitched it a little bit, or just made sure that the dough was like sealed all the way. I covered it in plastic wrap just so the dough wouldn't like get dry or anything in the refrigerator. I put it in there overnight, and then when I was ready to bake, I went ahead and preheated my oven to 450 degrees with my Dutch oven in there. And then I went ahead and grabbed some parchment paper and I started to do a score. So to get a beautiful ear, or somewhat of an ear, you don't want to go straight down or straight sideways. You want to go at a 45-degree angle and slit quickly. And if you feel like you didn't go deep enough, just go ahead and go through it one more time or two more times, and then just put it into the Dutch oven with the lid on for about 30 minutes. And this is what it looks like once I took off the lid. And I baked for another 10 minutes with the lid off, and this was the end result. The loaf came out beautiful and it has a nice spring to it. You can see a little bit of an ear there, and it just turned out so beautiful. So go ahead and use those measuring cups. If you don't have a kitchen scale, you can make beautiful bread for you and your family, even if you don't have all the fancy equipment. And here I am just going to show you guys the inside, because it was just so soft and so fluffy, and it was so good. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will leave all the measuring cups and everything in the description down below. And I want to thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you in my next one.